PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is really misunderstood. So this is a bit of a rundown of what it looks like. At its heart, what it is, it's a response to a traumatic event, which basically means something where I felt like or I was about to die or have grievous bodily harm come to me, or one of those two things was going to happen to somebody that I love. So you can hear in that there could be loads of different things. It could be a medical emergency, like an emergency C-section. It could be a heart attack. It could be a car crash. It could be a physical or sexual assault. Loads of different things. Yes, it can happen from war zones as well, but that's just because you're more likely to come across situations that look like that. The main thing is it's really intense. So the main thing you'll experience is flashbacks and nightmares. The flashbacks, let's define that as when I think about this event, it feels like I am there. I'm back there and it's happening now. That's different to a memory. So if you've had something horrible happen to you in your past, and when you think about it, you think, yeah, that was awful, but the intensity of the emotion isn't quite as bad. It's probably not PTSD. It's an awful event that's left you feeling a certain way, but it's not producing this I am there now sensation. That's the hallmark of PTSD. That means that the intensity of the emotion and the physical feeling really gets you. The fear is heart pounding, shaking, sweating, close to panic, and sometimes getting this sense that I'm not really here. Particularly when you're lost in the memory and you feel like you're back there. You can physically be in a room with somebody, but actually you're off in the memory. Sometimes the main symptom is blocking and avoiding. This is awful. It feels like a horrendous thing to happen. So of course you're going to avoid thinking about it. Why wouldn't you? Sometimes that means that you have to spend quite a lot of time and energy trying to avoid stuff. And it can be triggered by anything, any small reminder. So smells and sounds are particularly strong. So the smell of petrol, if it was a car accident, for example. Faces, anybody that looks like the person that attacked you. Places, if it was a medical emergency, you're probably not going to want to go to a hospital. Or feelings, so for example, if you've been attacked, sometimes being held can be a trigger, which is really awful. It's not only fear that you might be carrying around. A lot of the time with a traumatic event, there'll be guilt and shame. Really unfair things you might say to yourself, like I should have done more, or why didn't I do X and Y? And it's, again, as strong as day one, carrying that around with you for a long, long time. What you might notice in terms of what you end up doing is avoiding things. So avoiding those triggers that we've spoken about up here, distracting myself because I can't get away from my triggers, so I just need to bury my head in work or keeping busy. Or I might even find myself drinking or something like that just to take the edge off this horrendous physical feeling. And I might find myself being really cautious. If it was a robbery or if it was an attack, I'm going to be aware of other people and I might find myself taking precautions that I didn't take before. You might even find yourself compensating. If you felt that you hadn't done enough during the event, you might find yourself trying to make up for that in some way. That's what PTSD looks like.